teaching, Jesus' teaching. I've combined the 4 books together, it says above, and I have this PDF free in the description or found on my YouTube site or my website. And this PDF has the number or the location of each verse or where I got it, and I've created maybe 80, 90 videos of how I edit the text. So this is my best text that I put together so far, and I'm editing it, and while I'm trying to teach it, this is helping me get the editing correctly. As Jesus was going from there, we don't know where he was at right now. I can say that he is in Ezekiah someplace, so he's going to be traveling to Jerusalem, according to the other text here. Welcome, it's not coming up. What is that one? Okay, I thought I try to center these so you don't have any whites along the edge there. But as Jesus was going from there, a Roman woman came and cried out to him, "Have mercy on me, my Lord. You are our son. You are their son from David, and my daughter has a demon." He did not answer her, and a disciple came to him, and I have to correct the word disciple to put a capital letter D. I try to do that with the good guys, and right now they're all good. Should I put this in red? I don't think so. It's not the action. It's more or less you have to know that Jesus did not answer her, and the disciple came to him. We don't know which disciple, and asked him, "Shall I send her away?" He answered, "I was sent to the tribes for Israel." But she came up to him and bowed down before him and asked, "My Lord, will you help me?" He replied, "Is it good to take your children's bread and give it to the dog?" She answered, "No, my Lord, but even the dogs feed from the children's fallen." Then he told her, "Because of this answer, the demon has left your daughter." Now, this is one example of Jesus now helping. This is the second helping of a Roman, and the first one was a captain, and now, but that was his Israeli servant. But this one here is about a Roman woman's daughter. So we have to understand that she is fully believing what Israelis are saying because she's hearing so much about him healing people. So it's her trust in Jesus that brings her, as she knows about him or learning about him at that time. Okay, so children were brought to him. Okay, from there, Jesus was walking from Lake Galilee. See, now that's what I was saying. He had been up in this area, and we know that he's down through here. I don't have a city that's located in here, so it's pretty much has to be a city. So he was walking from maybe this story should go I'm trying to think. The story here was that, yeah, this is where Jesus announced he's going to go to Jerusalem. Still for John, disciple this is possible that he's still on his way, but he is teaching here. It's going from the way I think I have the last we have Jesus is in there's so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over here from I'm going to put this as the other city. Areas. So now we've got them walking a little bit further down. Text that Jesus is walking down this road and he's now leaving here. So this is because there's hills here, so the road would have been easier to come. And I'm pretty sure he walked up this same route going into pick up the disciples. So this is my best guess of where the roads are. So everything is subject to what people can figure out from the text itself. So now I've got him. He's walking, okay, because the city, and now he's going from Lake Galilee. Okay, so this now makes better sense in putting the order where he is at. And walking up the hills, he sat on a rock, and the new crowd that followed him brought their lame, crippled, blind, dumb, and he healed every one of them. The crowd marveled as they saw them healed, and they praised Yahweh. The children were brought to him for him to lay his hand on, but Judas stopped them again. Jesus has been warning Judas not to stop the children. This used to be the word disciple, or there might have been another disciple name. I have to give the story reason why Judas betrayed him. He was been corrected once, now he's being corrected again. Jesus told him, "Do not stop them from coming to me, for my kingdom in heaven exists for them." After laying his hands on them, he departed. So the thing here is at that time, a lot of deaths were had a lot of high death rate from children having diseases and dying young. So this is what Jesus is pointing to at this point. Now I could take it farther about those who are abused as children. So the thing here is that would be secondary to what should be understood in this verse here, or these words here. A young male walked up and asked him, "What good things will I do to receive eternal life with you?" And he told him, "If you want to enter, keep his commandments." The young male replied, "His commandments I have kept. What am I lacking?" I had to make sure the word commandment was here, because this is what you're being forgiven to enter into heaven. It's probably the second most important text, other than you can go to heaven or you can enter into heaven. When the young man heard this, he went away, for he owned many possessions. Jesus said it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter my kingdom. Again, Jesus has this experience with the rich wanting to obey him, but then refusing to obey him. So the thing here is Jesus is using this again to teach that he is the needle. His yes, yes, lets you enter into heaven. And the sharp point, no, no, you do not enter into heaven. And he's talking about those that have rich, they're more materialistic people. When the disciples heard this, okay, I've got to send this over here. The disciples heard this. They asked, who can live with you? Jesus answered them, by mankind this is impossible, yet by Yahweh all things are possible. Here he's teaching mankind's understanding to their way of becoming a god and living their afterlife is not a heaven, is what Jesus is saying here. But to live with our Creator makes this all possible. Yeah, I was just trying to think of what else can be said about that. I'm not going to go there. Then James answered, we left everything to follow you, so will we be there with you? Jesus said, when I, your Son for man, will sit on my throne, you will also sit upon thrones, judging the 12 tribes from Israel. Whoever leaves their home, or brother, sisters, father, mother, or children, for my name, will receive eternal life with me. Meaning that you're supposed to separate yourself even from your family if they are not believing Jesus is your King in heaven. And this would mean that you're more obedient to our Creator before you do this. But the object is to leave your family behind if these people are teaching against our Creator or teaching against Jesus. My name will receive eternal life with me. So this is Jesus's guidance here. He's done a few of these. I don't know if I'm going to make a list of guidances. I probably will, because I haven't been noting them. Now we're going to get Jesus still having the crowd around. He's now going to teach them, and he's doing this repeatedly to all the crowd. For my kingdom in heaven is like a landowner who went out in the early morning to hire pruners for his vineyard. He agreed with the pruners for a silver for a daylight, and he went and he sent them to his vineyard. This would mean that he went out early in the morning and hired, and he sent them to his vineyard after they agreed to this amount. He also went in the third hour and saw others. He said to them, go prune my vineyard, and whatever is right I will give you. Here, pruning means to get rid of the those that don't promote the grape or the fruit that can. Jesus uses these grapes as truths that you shared. I keep having to say this, but your mind is like a garden, and when you're really convinced that you have the absolute truth, you're asking or telling somebody about it, and what you're doing is offering the fruit of the tree for the taste, that if you taste this, you will understand the growth of the tree, or how this growth of this knowledge becomes the fruit of the tree that you would also like to give to others. So it's about producing the grape here. So they're pruning away. So there's more given to the grapes to be more abundant instead of the plant. It's making the plant stronger by getting rid of what is growth of the vine. So I'm trying to relate this in my head to say that the vine has grown, and its example, people teaching things wrong need to be pruned away, even though they're using the vine and saying this is the truth. They're getting deceptive. So this pruning away allows the fruit to be a greater in amount. So trim away the falseness is the false teaching of the true vine. And Jesus is going to mention in one of these that he is the true vine. And whatever is right, I will give you. And they went to his vineyard. And you just understand they went to work. So again, he went out in the 6th hour and the 9th hour and said this to others. On the 11th hour, he found others, and he asked them, have you been idle for all daylight? They answered, because no one has hired us. And he said to them, go to my vineyard and prune. At sunset, the owner said to his foreman, call my pruners, and I will pay them their wages. And he began with the last to the first. And as each one received a silver, the first thought that they would receive more, but they also received 1 silver. As they received it, they questioned the owner, for they said, these last have worked but 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us. Yet we pruned all daylight. He answered them, I am doing you no wrong, for you did agree. Or did you not agree with me for a silver? For I wanted to give the last the same as you. Thus the last will be paid as the first. Now, most people will say the reward is to enter into heaven. What they miss is that Jesus is saying that 1/12 of your life, you must work at least 1 hour to be accepted into heaven, okay, to receive this reward. So if you're getting late in life and you know that if you divide it in 12, that there's so many years that you have to work to enter into heaven, that you must fully dedicate, honor, and respect our Creator and obey all his commands. So here, this is not that the day has 12 hours. No, that is not the meaning of this. It is the meaning of 1/12 of your life you need to be obedient to our Creator. Then you are going to receive that reward of entering into heaven. So in other words, Jesus is also saying in this that this 1 hour you must be active in being obedient and showing or representing, or you're noted for your representing of your light that is within you by being obedient to Jesus others will see this in you. It doesn't mean you're going to go out and over um, overdo things, but people will notice your change in life, how more obedient and how different you have become by honoring and respecting Jesus and our Creator. And I should put our Creator first, then Jesus. While he was teaching at a house, his father and mother were seeking to talk to him. So someone shouted, "Your father and mother are seeking to talk with you." He shouted, "Who is like my family?" Then he looked around and he shouted, "Whoever does the will of my Father are my brothers and sisters." Okay, and I'm going to stop here to teach this, because here you have to understand that Jesus' father and mother are going to join him now as he's going to um, Jerusalem. Okay, so this is him teaching this, that everyone is really my family, but the story means that father and mother are there, which in your text from your old useless Bible now does not mention his father anymore on the trail, and yet it doesn't say that he's died either along the trail going to Jerusalem. So his father is going to be with him in the end. So when they use the word Joseph, this guy, other guy from some city, came to help bury Jesus, now you know that it was really his father. And this is the text that one should understand here, that his father and mother are with him now going to the journey, because also we have the prophecy from the angel Gabriel telling Joseph and Mary their heart will be pierced by his death. Okay, so they were there. Okay, then he looked around and he shouted, "Whoever does the will of my Father are my brothers and sisters." Then a higher priest and a higher scribe came from Jerusalem. So now that he's on his way, and these runners, remember, are being sent back and forth from uh, the higher priests and scribes. These are the bad guys. These are pretty much mankind. And then all of a sudden they are wanting to know what's going on more than the others. And they asked him, "Why do your disciples," and I think I have that still listed here, "disciples transgress our tradition, for they do not wash their hands before they eat bread." Now, when I see this, most likely, if you've been paying attention, this has been said before. But again, it's like I said, their runners came down and replied, "This is what they're doing." And yet, this tradition is very strong that they have set that you're supposed to wash your hands before you eat. So the thing here is when you're on the road, you don't get to be by a stream or have a lot of water wash your hand. Now, I'm sure each one of them had their own jug of water, but the object is that yeah, I was just thinking of other things there. Sorry about that. Where they asked him again the question, and I think they were going to trap him by what they wanted to have set this question up, because they knew he was going to answer this. He asked them, "Why do you transgress the commandments from Yahweh? For Yahweh commanded, honor our fathers and mothers, but you teach whoever says to their father and mother, anything of mine that you have been helped by has been given by me." They are not honoring their father or mother. Thus you undermined corrected this last time. Oh, so I'm going to get rid of this. got to make this a 10-point. This 11 point. Okay. Just when I do this, I'll quickly just go through and I'll remove this text. And sometimes I've noticed that becomes like a point and the spacing doesn't show up correctly. And if I have one little error, I don't like it. So I'm trying to make it as best as I can. You have undermined, overruled. You overruled the commandment from heaven to be your tradition. You hypocrites, Isaiah prophesied of you. And later in the text, I will have this put together. Maybe I should do that right now and put 8 here, and then go here. Sewed it here. Sewed it here. Just know what I did, so I get understanding of what I did. Isaiah prophesied of you, people will honor with their word, honor me with their words, but their heart are far from me, and in vain they worship me, but they teach their teachings against my commandments. And I don't know why. I'm shocked that that word commandments doesn't fit up here. Anyways, Jesus is pretty much repeating this, so I think I should note this, because if I find it, I want to note it. This verse again. He told the crowd, hear me and understand. It is not what enters the mouth that defiles man. It is what you say that defiles man. If you notice, Jesus is again teaching the same like story. So just to let you know that Jesus was probably reteaching every time he could to the next group of people that were there, to make sure that when they talked, then they would discuss what they heard with how Jesus said it to others. They knew that Jesus still stayed on his message. Then his disciples. I got to use the other one. Then his disciples came and told him, do you know the priests and scribes were offended when they heard your teaching? And I have to put higher. I want people to know exactly who these priests are. Higher priests and higher scribes were offended when they heard your teaching. He answered, every tree our father did not plant will be chopped down. They are blind guides guiding their blind males, for both will fall into a pit. Male-dominated society. Males dominated all the judges and lawyers at this time. So it was the way mankind could control their knowledge over the people. They had overtaken the good Israelis, and they were now in full control. This is why I use the word Jews. Jews means those that are not obedient to our Creator, and it also means that they could be immersed in this meditation sex practice to have a sex with a so-called female goddess, because Jesus had taught that they teach their own laws, lawless laws. So here, our Father did not plant will be chopped down. This is specifically speaking about mankind here. They are blind guides guiding their blind males, for both will fall into a pit. Here, the highest priest, higher scribes, again, they're one group of males. As he looked to the crowd, he had compassion for them because they were like a flock without a herder. Jesus said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the herders are few. Therefore, they should petition their Lord to send his herders for gathering them." And this is what Jesus is giving guidance not only to the disciples, but those who are reading this, that he is supposed to ask our Creator to send his herders, the true believers that have taken their belief to a trust in Jesus and not wanting money to be gathered, but to be told the truth about Jesus. So, but a lot of people did not do this. But this was Jesus's command from that time till now. This text, again, I'm going to say, don't play with it. Don't over-teach it. Teach what truthful you know. If you are just, when coming to our Creator, I want you to understand that that you should take the text onto the computer, study it, talk to our Creator, because more you talk to your Creator, you'll be able to understand it more. So when your children ask you, you can then teach your truths to your children, and then they should be doing the same for their children. And after a while, the knowledge will become very easily known to them by our Creator teaching them, instead of me telling you the understanding our Creator gave me, because everybody is to learn at a different pace, or a different will by our Creator, because he wants everybody to know and talk to him, to honor and respect our Creator. So after gathering his 12 disciples, he gave them his authority over demons to cast them out and heal every disease and sickness. There are 12 disciples. His 12 disciples are, and I've noticed that here I've got to recheck all these. So I'm going to. That's a note to me, and I think I've been using two N's when I was correcting. These are the 12, and I've put them in order as he would have gathered them. I don't think there's any text on these guys here or how they were gathered, but I know that they're there. So I put these guys' name in the text farther below. But the object here is some of these were fishermen, some of them were taxmen, and it seemed these were taxmen as well. I will probably get in and probably make a longer video of explaining the 12 disciples and my understanding of them. When he sent them out in pairs to herald his kingdom from Yahweh and heal his people, Jesus gave them instructions. Wherever you enter a home, stay there until you leave. Any place that does not receive you or listen to you, leave from there and shake off the dust from your feet as witnessing against them. For my lost rams are from the tribes from Israel. Boy, it's really hard to read with this stroke that I've had. A lot of times I can see a word and another word is blocked out, and I don't know how to. I just seem to make up what I'm not seeing. For my lost rams are from the tribes from Israel, and preach my kingdom is from heaven is coming. Heal my sick, heal my lepers. By casting out their demons, you know my authority. You have my authority to help you. This could not be said when Jesus told them to go spread the gospel in other kingdoms, okay? He was specifically telling them at this time to the tribes from Israel. So the thing here is now, is this meaning that Jesus has sent them into Jerusalem, into Judah to teach? Because there is no text of Jesus going into Judah until they return and come back together, and this is the story of them being sent out. So I think I've been making all. Oops, it's not going to be there. Okay. This gray text right now, man. Sent them out in pairs. To Judah. So as you just understood that, there's a map here. See, we have Zechariah up here when he was leaving. So some of the texts that he was teaching would most likely be West Manasseh, but all of a sudden he's going to skip and he's going to go all the way down here. And somewhere in here is where he is going to tell them to go into Judah to teach. So this questions were shake up the dust from food as a witness against them. Do not take gold or silver for your wealth, yet as my disciples we deserve support from them. In other words, he's saying again, don't overtake wealth. So, like all the preachers today, many of them have too much money, and they should have said, Jesus told us to live humbly, but they didn't. So now you're seeing that they are not obeying Jesus, so you should not be following them anymore. Other than that, you shouldn't be donating money to them anymore. You deserve support from them. Only take on your journey a staff, a sack for food, and a few silver. Okay, gold was a higher wealth. Jesus saying, don't take any gold, just take the silver. and just enough for you to journey, pay for your food, and get you what you need. Maybe they're having somebody wash their clothes for them, their extra set of items that they're carrying. Whatever city or village you enter, ask who is able to support you, that you stay with them until you leave. This means don't walk into a poor person's house and expect them to just wait on you hand and foot. This needs to be somebody of at least a decent wealth for you to overstay a night and teach in that village and then go back. Because remember, there's going to be now 6 groups sent out. So they need to teach in that city for a while and then move on to the next city. And Jesus more or less probably assigned them where. It's not in the text where they were doing this, but we know that they're in Judah now, because I changed the text to make sure everybody knows that they're headed to Judah. That you stay with them until you leave. As you enter their home, give them your greeting of peace. Then, because I'm sure that one of the family said, yes, come with me, and I will put you up. And then when he meets the whole family, then greet them your greeting of peace. Then they went to the villages and cities in Judah and Simon and preached his gospel and cast out demons to heal many people. Here's where they're at now. This is Judah and Simon in small caps. So when I corrected it up here, this is okay that I'm adding the text here as well. And we also now know where Jesus is at. It's here in this map. Well, I'll figure out where to put the map later. Here's the thing, that now that they went out and preached, it doesn't tell us how long, but it's going to be probably a good month that they're sent out to do this, maybe a month and a half, which a month is 5 weeks. So the thing here is I'm figuring that 5 weeks does cover many cities in Judah. Remember, Judah is not as large as the rest here, because we're only talking this area here, and Jesus has been teaching over here. Now, while the disciples are being sent out from here somewhere, probably Bethel, Jesus was teaching in Dan and Benjamin, because now we're going to have the story of Jesus going over to Benjamin. So it was probably he went into Dan by himself to teach. So the thing here is maybe Jesus up here told them, and then Jesus went here and here, and probably crossed the river here and then come back through here. And that's probably the way I'll make this map of Jesus doing this. And he sent them to Jerusalem. So just letting you know what's going on. Yeah, I got it by Bethel here. Well, this is where he finds them. Disciple. This one. Jesus found the disciples by Bethel. So he most likely, it doesn't say here, he probably gave them a timeline to come back and be by Bethel. So Jesus found the disciples by Bethel. Where is Bethel? This I showed you is Dan. This is Benjamin. Here is Bethel. This is where Saul first started his place of establishing his power base to rule all over Israel. He did not make Jerusalem his capital city for him. This becomes the capital city for the king here. And then Jerusalem, he didn't decide, because Shiloh was here. Shiloh was the main, I can't say the main tent for meeting at this time, because there is text in the Hebrew text that when we start talking about Samuel, who makes Saul the king, this area, there is text at the end when they're talking about our Creator talks to one of the prophets and tells him to go out and teach, go look at how I abandoned Shiloh. So the corruption of this time that happens between Joshua, when we have the lastlings from Joshua are assigning the refuge cities after he's divided the tribe's land up, there's this gap, and I'm thinking I'm just saying 200, could be 300 years. We don't have any of this time, but they started falling away from our Creator, so we abandoned them in Shiloh, meaning he doesn't appear as his light above the mercy seat to talk to the priest. That means the priest had to be corrupted at this time as well. Okay, so this what was happening. Now, the thing here is did he abandon all the priests at that time? That's going to be a subject that will be discussed by many, because the way that Eli knows our Creator exists. So, and he was the priest, and then he was high priest at this time, that I'm saying that our Creator said to abandon them. So did he abandon them before this, and then he's starting to appear? But this is the importance of Bethel, is where Saul's living was at, and this is a lot of the stories around David as well. So he found the disciples by Bethel. He saw a crowd around them, and a male was arguing with them. When the crowd knew he was Jesus, they greeted him. Then he asked them, what are they discussing? A father from the crowd told him, I brought your disciples. And he was referring to them as your disciples. Yeah, I guess I can leave it that way. My son, for he is possessed by a demon who makes him have convulsions. I left the word convulsions. I couldn't find a simpler word for 12-year-olds, but down here it does explain what convulsions are. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the land. Then he has spit and grinds his teeth and stiffens, and it leaves him. I told your disciples to cast it from him, but they did not, but they could not do. I think I want to change it to this. They could not do this. Jesus told him, you are like this unbelieving generation. How long will I be with you before you trust me? Bring your son to me. As he brought his son to him, the demon threw him into a convulsion, and as he fell to the ground, he rolled about and spit came from his mouth. Jesus asked his father, how long has this been happening? He told him, from his childhood. Will you take pity on us and heal him? Jesus said to him, everything is possible for them who believes me. I'm going to get rid of that word and put in trust, because Jesus has 3 times called out the word trust in him is why he's healed them. So I need to be consistent here in the text. For them who trust me, the boy's father said, I do believe. You help my unbelief. I'm thinking I should change this back to beliefs, but this would be one time that Jesus is saying it this way. and he hasn't been saying it this way. Okay, I'm going to leave it as trust, because when he's saying believe, this is what Jesus is saying. Where is it? Yeah, this unbelieving generation. So maybe I should go back here and leave it, leave it alone because of up here, because this unbelieving generation. And he's pretty much talking about those that still are witnessing, but they still aren't believing Jesus as King. So, as one who is able to do everything, be the prophet, be the teacher, uh, and be Savior. Believes me. Yeah, I don't want to put the word in there. The boy's father said, I do believe in you, help my unbelief. Then Jesus rebuked the demon. I command you to come out and not enter him again. It threw him into a terrible convulsion as it came out, so much so he was like a corpse. But Jesus took his hand and he stood up, and the crowd was amazed at his authority Yahweh given Jesus. So this would mean that Jesus has not done miracles or healings in Benjamin. Okay. So now we know that he went from here over to here, and now he's here. And people, because this is the biggest area of travel in all of the text, Benjamin would have been hearing that they didn't come to them, that he went to Dan. So groups of people would have been on these major roads coming, and they would have witnessed this because at first the text starts out saying that where is it? There was a crowd from a crowd. Okay, so here it's a crowd around them. Okay, so they must have recognized that they were the disciples, and even the crowd was seeing that they could not heal him as well or cast out the demon. So now this crowd was amazed at the authority Yahweh give them, which means also that this is a newer group to Jesus. And they gave him their account of all they'd done as they went to Shiloh. So now they went from Bethel, and this is on the journey. This is only about 4 or 5 miles, which is easy walk, not too far. The disciples asked him, let's see if I still have that. Asked him, why would they not cast it out? For this happened with others. I added this text because I'm sure that they couldn't do this other places. This is me putting what I have been given as a truth that this could have happened, because Jesus is talking about many unbelievers. So, and if you weren't fully trusting Jesus, they couldn't heal others. So this happened with others, okay, that they couldn't truly cast out a demon. They were able, and this would be a possessed demon, meaning, well, no, this is a convulsion, which is like epilepsy. The more difficult diseases, I would say. So this happened with many others, but some were being healed and some weren't. So this means that they were disciples, but they're asking why they couldn't do this. And he told them, because of the littleness of their trust in me. Here, yes, now it gets to the word trust again, in me. For if they have trust in me as small as a mustard seed, they will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will be moved. This is not a physical mountain. Jesus related this as a large problem in their life. Okay, so people are teaching this wrong today. So the object is that they have to have trust that Jesus is their Savior for them to be able, a Savior to be redeemed into heaven. They can say and talk all they want about Jesus, but the object is they have to be fully obedient of Jesus and our Creator's commands for us, that they have this trust. They don't have this trust. They're the unbelievers. So this is what he's telling them, is that this is why you couldn't do this to others as well. That said, check the time. Then Bartholomew told Jesus, here again, there's that space I got to get rid of. Got to do that here. This is, like I said, I've had to add the other disciples' names in here. We saw someone casting out demons by your name. We tried to stop him because he is not a disciple. Jesus said, no one will perform a miracle by my name. I will and speak evil of me. Who is not against me is for me. Whoever gives in my name, I say they will not lose their reward from me. Whoever causes one who believes in me to turn away from me, it would have been better for them if a heavy stone was tied around their neck and thrown into deep water. This story about someone else healing in Jesus' name has been misused by so many people. Most of them fool people. If there was truly somebody doing this today, this is, or at any time in the past, means that they were most obedient. They have to be, or this particular person, Jesus is saying, is pretty much as closest to being a prophet, or the most righteous, obedient to our Creator and understanding all the text about Jesus. I just had a comment put up. Yes, Jesus saves, our works don't. Correct. They are very correct. But our works do show others that we have our belief that Jesus is who he is, and it's our light that Jesus says that is being seen from within our soul to others. So our works do matter, but it does not save or says, I get to go to heaven. Okay? It's by Jesus's mercies and compassion, or as Jesus said, some that enter by the narrower gate are those that have done the commands of our Creator and trust Jesus, because Jesus many times talks about you have to have a trust for Jesus. So this person here that Jesus is referring to is at a very high level of being very righteous for him to be able to heal somebody by the way he is doing this. Now, it doesn't mean that he's able to do exactly everything like the disciples. I would say his healings or his miracle that he was performed in his name let's see, where was cast out demons? Yeah, they were cast out demons. Now, demons, you have to understand, we know that demons are those that speak. Those are like possessed by demons. We have exorcism today for this, that that people just change and start speaking not in their own voice. And I've never seen a full-on exorcism. I have witnessed a voice coming out of someone I know or knew, and I knew he wasn't the one speaking, okay? And I knew it was Satan talking through him. So the thing here is I know that possession can happen, but other demons would have been that it's like an unseen what causes an illness. So at their time, they would refer to demons as the cause of these diseases. So most likely he was casting out demons, meaning the illnesses here, not that he was doing full-on exorcism, okay? I just want to make sure that people understand when the text says things, that you have to understand all the text sometimes, because that's what I'm trying to do when I'm going through and editing and teaching the text here, that this is specifically not speaking about the demon speaking through that person that's now demon possessed. Oh, so, yes, to turn away from me. Again, this text here means those that are falsely teaching about Jesus, which is your bishops, your pope, and things those like that, which specifically is this text is talking about mankind, or an atheist who is bringing up questions to that person that they can't answer because they aren't fully understanding all the text, that they're turned away from Jesus. Jesus speaks about this in his parable of seeds as well. Go on here. They went to the villages by Shiloh, then to Jericho. So here we know that Jesus is traveling on this road. We have them now going to Jericho, and then he's going to come up from this valley back up to Mizpah. So the thing here is we have a location of where Jesus is at this time. And because he's heading to Jerusalem, and we know that, well, I know that the text below is going to have his last 7, possibly 8 days in Jerusalem. We know now that this is the end of the year of the favorable year of our Lord, because they are going to crucify Jesus on the preparation day before the next day starts, which is at twilight. So we have the text beginning when Jesus was there at Jerusalem, when his parents took him there to celebrate the passing over and the 8-day celebration. Then that's when his year started. Now we know that all the timeline that I tried to put in and understood by the text by him traveling, we now know, like I was trying to point out, that it had to be like 5 weeks, 7 weeks that Jesus was sent his disciples into Judah to teach, and they come back. So now I'm saying that now we're in the very last weeks here. It's probably within 2 weeks now what's going to happen, because there's going to be specific times, such as 2 days is going to come up, and then we're going to know that this might be the third week before the passing over celebration. He asked them, "Who are the foreigners saying I am?" They say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others ones of our others, and I need to put this here, others, one of our prophets from the past. Here again at this time, the priests were teaching reincarnation, and it was among the people that when they went out and traveled, that people were wondering about Jesus, and they'd bring this up. So that's how distorted the higher priests and scribes had distorted the text that they were teaching from or sending out about Jesus. Then he asked, "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "His Christ, our King from Yahweh, who is to die." Now this I've talked about before, and I'll note it again. This is where I can make a note referring to the other text that only at this time do we really truly have the title Christ truly said of the text, because that there is a story that Isaiah teaches about, he calls it, Isaiah called it his cruel vision that he was given to see, which was how Jesus was to die on a cross, but he didn't understand what it was, known as crucifixion at the time. So the thing here is this story would have been rarely taught, but all of a sudden Peter is given the reminding of who is to die, because our Creator wanted him to die this way. So when he says his Christ, then he said, "Yes, I am your son from man, whom is to suffer many things, being rejected by our elders, tribes, priests, and scribes." Tribes, this has to be higher to make sure that we have this. Is who is Jesus talking about? They're the ones setting the rules. Evil. Say I'm adding this word. Being rejected by our evil elders, tribes, higher priests, and higher scribes, and they will deliver me into the hands of Rome, and they will kill me. This will has to be our Creator's will to have Jesus die this way, and we know, and when Jesus is transfigured, Jesus tells them, or the two disciples that hear Jesus make sure that we all know that Jesus said, "Let our Creator's will be done and not his will be done." This is what Jesus was talking to our Creator about, that he will do what our Creator has told him to do. This makes Jesus the highest male ever on earth. Then Yahweh will raise me the next day. Now, the thing here is raise me the next day. I'm going to have to change this because my body, because when Jesus dies on the cross, at that moment, the graveyard, they're seeing souls rise from the graveyard, which means that Jesus' kingdom was established, and it was visually for them to know that Jesus' body died and his soul immediately went to heaven. So this is what's going to happen the next day, is his body is going to be given, he's going to receive back his body, and then he's going to walk, or he's going to appear in up by Lake Galilee. For the simple fact, we have Joseph and Mary, and I have made sure Joseph is there. I explained a little earlier why Joseph is involved in the traveling with Jesus into the celebration times for the passing over. So Jesus was teaching and on travel. His parents weren't with him the full time, but they are staying at places that they can stay while he walks around teaching. And this is when they come to lay more spices around the body to keep the insects away. And his body is gone by the angel telling him that he will meet up by Lake Galilee. So this is the next day, because Jesus is dying on the day that they're preparing their first day of celebration, that Passover meal that they are told as a statute they must partake in. Okay, so this is the day that he dies. It's the next day that his body, when they find that Jesus now has left heaven and is back on earth. Then Jesus said to him, "Blessed are you, Peter, because our Father in heaven did reveal me to you," which means he knew at this time that our Father had told Peter his Christ. He used a title that is now summing up of all the things about Jesus suffering and things that were to be done. But this is the new title given from our Creator, because Jesus is saying, because our Father in heaven did reveal me to you, by actually coming up with a new title for Jesus. Okay, and the Christ means that he's going to die by our Creator's will, according to Isaiah's prophecy of his cruel vision. So, Peter, you will help their gatherings for me, and those going to the abyss will not overpower them. Thus, everyone who gathers to me on earth will be gathered in heaven. Then he commanded them, they are not to tell anyone he is his Christ. So all this text I've made sure is edited correctly. And if there's one, or these books from Mark, you'll have to go to all these different places to see how I've added it in Mark 8, Matthew 16, to Matthew, pretty much a lot of 16 of Matthew, to see how I added this text to be this way. And I'm now making sure that I have to have raise me is raise my body the next day. And then he's declaring to Peter, who did reveal him, and this is the reminding of. So should I put this note also? Well, I think if I have here that I'm pointing back, they should be new. I don't think I need to put the note here. Peter, you will help their gathering for me, and those going to the abyss will not overpower them. Again, I've explained the abyss as the place where all souls that didn't go to heaven are still in the abyss until Jesus' second coming. So these are the bad guys that didn't make it to heaven that are in the abyss. Where is the abyss? Our Creator told Cain that Abel's body is calling to him from the ground. This was the explanation that our Creator gave of another dimension of time and space for them to understand that there's the dimension of time and space inside the earth, which was for them at that time. We now know other dimensions of time and space just are, okay? And I am witness of the abyss in my afterlife video that you can find on my YouTube channel. That you'll find on my YouTube channel, that if you do a search in the search bar, just afterlife, I tell you of the 7 times that our Creator made me see Him in the abyss, and tell you how you can experience your soul in the abyss. And then when you come back to the land of the living, or your soul's connected back to the body in this dimension of land of the living, you will understand that you didn't visit the underneath the ground, but you'll have that knowledge that you have a soul. You know that there's afterlife, and the warning is not to try to attack these beings or these souls that are there, because they are evil. Okay? Jesus is telling you that those that are going to the abyss, meaning they weren't forgiven to enter into heaven, are there. Thus, whether you gather to me on earth will be gathered in heaven. And this would be from this time forth. Jesus is talking that Peter has a better, he is the one our Creator is working through, as our Creator picking Peter as the one who is the most trusting of Jesus, of His disciples. Okay, I want to make sure that was said in this video here. I probably would have, think I said that before. Then He commanded all of them, so this has to be a capital T. Then He commanded them. Oops, I gotta put that. Gotta make sure that gets changed. They are not to tell anyone He is Christ. Meaning, don't go around and telling people or whispering in their ear that Jesus is going to die and that He's going to fulfill Isaiah's cruel vision. Judas rebuked Him, for he said, Yahweh will not allow this, my Lord, for this will never happen to you. But this is our Creator's. He's talking about the story of His cruel vision. So now others are aware, and Jesus is teaching them about Isaiah's cruel vision. Jesus said, Judas, you are like Satan in this, for you want is a for your want is a stumbling block for me. You are like Satan in this, for your want is a stumbling block to me. I'm going to change this and then add it this way to make sure that this is read together and not broke like 2 different sentences. For your want is a stumbling block for me. You are to set your mind on Yahweh's will for man. So here again, Jesus is pointing to our Creator's commands as being most important, and Jesus is obeying our Creator's will. Here again, He's pointing out that He knows He will die, the crucifixion, and He knows that He will not disobey our Creator. Then Jesus told His disciples, now I need this disciple here, over here. His disciples, if any man wants to follow me, let them deny themselves and follow me. What will man profit if their gains are from the worldly? for they will forfeit their soul with me. For what can a male give in exchange for their soul to be with me? Whoever wants to save their own soul will not live with me. Whoever dies for my sake, they will live with me. These should be this. This verse here is speaking. This is also talking about mankind, because mankind has their own beliefs of how they can save their soul. So, whoever dies for my sake, they will live with me. Whoever is ashamed of me or my words, so will their son for man of them. Is ashamed of me or my words, so will their son for man. I guess the word love is what's driving me nutty here on this. Trying to think of a better word than love. It's just not happening right now. For I, your son from man, am going to come in my glory from our Father. Oh, this is his second coming, so this needs to be noted. I think I've been noting it. I'm going to come in my glory from our Father, and with my angels I will judge everyone according to their words. Now, when I'm using the word glory here, this is his glory as shining like the angels, where he is going to be all white with white wings as an angel, okay, as he comes in his glory from Father. Now, he might even have the crown on his head for being recognized as a king, okay? So this is the glory our Father has given him as king of in heaven. So there has to be a special glory from our Father, but angels are in white. Jesus transfigured into white, so Jesus knows that angels are white, all white, and the coloring of white is a pure white. Our Creator shows himself as a brilliant purity, light, and I use brilliant purity as one word. I can't describe our Creator's purity any better than putting two words together to being one word. There is no word that we have in language that speaks about our Creator's light. So this is Jesus' second coming, and I will judge everyone according to their words, means immediately that the people we're going to recognize those maybe 1,000, 2,000 years from now will see Jesus appearing, and 1 to 2,000 years is not my words to say that my words are going to be truthful, because I haven't been given anything to know when he's coming. I'm just saying that Jesus didn't send me as his helper for 2,000 years. And that's because the computer is now available to everybody. And this is what made this text be able to be seen today. So maybe it's 500 years from now. But the object is that I am saying that Jesus is coming again. And the text is revealing that when he does make his appearance, whether it's 500,000, 2,000 years from now, is a range up to 2,000, no more than 2,000, the way I understand Jesus spake about or prophesied of the helper, and therefore now you see the text is being told truthfully to you. And I will put that up if I remember when I go to the end of the video here, which is coming up soon. And then you can read that and take a screenshot to read that. But this judgment that everyone, according to their words, meaning that Jesus, when he does appear, he's going to cause everyone's soul to either, one, enter into heaven, or two, descend into the abyss, or sent to the abyss. And then later, our Creator is going to define hell. I spake about this before, that those that are in the abyss right now and now know that Jesus is their King, they can be in a repentance state in the abyss, and they have to be in that repentant state until Jesus comes again. And I believe that those in the abyss will be pulled up out of there, because as Jesus tells us in the parable, 1/12 of your life you have to be obedient to our Creator. Even those that are down in the abyss will be able to, I'm pretty sure, I'm over the 70% positive about this, that he will pull up those out of the abyss that have repented and obeyed our Creator the best they can down there. And then those that are definitely left there, then he's creating hell, and there's a forever separation as far as our Creator is telling us now, because our Creator, maybe in a few trillion years, them left in hell, that maybe he will allow some of them to come out again, and then more out later, another couple trillion years. So the thing here is our Creator can outweigh you for you to recognize who our Creator is and how to enter into heaven to live with our Creator. So, like I said, our Creator is, there is no beginning, there is no end, he is no Alpha, he is no Omega. So I'm going to put up this B-rate back screen, and I'm going to let it run for about 20-30 seconds, because you know the rule that they're going to have. Hopefully I've always set it up that a thumbnail will come up for you to click on, and hopefully it's the last video.